Very excited to get practice started this coming Monday. Great to get back on the grass and be able to get back to football. Off season so far has went very well. Guys have in the workouts in our fourth quarter programs, I think we're running very well. The young guys have adapted. Those 12 new guys have gotten in. They've gotten to the culture of how to work and how to do things. I've been very happy with their progress and what they've done. The upperclassmen have done a really nice job. Seem to be in really good shape from a conditioning standpoint, from a physical standpoint, getting stronger. And in our meetings that we're allowed to have, the young guys seem to be catching on to things. The older guys, it's anxious. It's fun to watch a new group emerge as different leaderships emerge, different guys emerge, and how they do things. So very excited to get them back on the grass this Monday. Like I said, fourth quarter workouts have been going good so far, and that's where we're at right now. Haven't been into those for about 5 weeks, so get ready to play on Monday. And started off, hate to break it up like we did as far as spring, where you practice a week and then go spring break and then come back. But if we start after spring break, that would put the spring game on Easter weekend. Don't want to do that. And don't want to wait all the way to the end of March and then go to the end of April. I just didn't want to wait that long. I wanted to get that process started and be on the other end of that thing a little bit. So that's why we're breaking up, which I've done it before in the past. I've done it a couple times, had to because of schedule and where Easter fell along with spring break. So that's the reason for that. Like I said, we'd never done that since I've been here, but it's been very successful. We still get the same number of practices and all those things. So looking forward to Monday. Questions?
Brent, down front.
I know quarterback is the glamour position, but how important is it to
be careful? It is until it doesn't go well, huh?
Right. Important to start pegging replacements for all those defensive linemen that you left to find guys who are going to fill those shoes.
Well, I mean, we do, but we got a great group. We've recruited a great group. I mean, we got a really good group. I mean, you look at the D-tackle, I mean, you still have McKinley Jackson, Darius Jones, Isaiah Rakes have played tons of football. Shamar Turner, we think is going to be an outstanding player. Regis, Darius Jones, and Burris. I mean, those guys are all in there, and then plus the guys we've signed and we'll bring in. So, I mean, we're excited about that group. And then the defensive ends, we lost them, but, you know, you still got Tamise, who's going to be really good. And Fidel's had an outstanding both those guys I thought had outstanding off seasons. Donnell Harris will be there. Zion Harris there. Elijah Judy. Anthony Lucas has come in and really fit in well. Braden Mowry's done a great job. And Gabriel Dindy. Gabriel, you know, he's another very, very talented guy who will be out in spring because he suffered a knee injury in the bowl in that All-Star game. But hopefully we'll be back by the season this summer. But, no, his progress and what he's doing and I mean, I think all those guys, it's anxious to get those guys replaced. Like you say, they still got to go out there in the grass, but definitely the ability's there and the structure, there's enough of them, that's for sure.
Front on the right, Cole.
Jimbo, one of the guys that you won't have to replace is Ruben Fothery. He played right tackle last year. Is there a chance that you're moving him over to the left side this year, or is it kind of?
Well, we'll move it around. I mean, he'll play right and he can play left. I mean, we'll find out. We move all those guys all the time. I mean, last year he played left tackle for a while too. I mean, to find the best combination of things in which he did and where he'll be. And like I say, his leadership will be counted upon greatly, that's for sure.
Front left, Zach, and then Olin.
Jimbo, talking about quarterback position, you know, what do you expect to see from those guys this spring? What are you hoping to see from them?
Tremendous competition. Let me tell you something. How you get to become a better player is you got competition. That's what we want at every position. You want practice to be your greatest competition. Each and every day that you have to know you have to bring your A game to practice every day to make sure you have a job. And that's where your team gets better. That's how you grow as an organization. That's the culture in which you create the competition in practice, the way you practice, the intensity you practice with. I mean, of course, you want to see their leadership, and I mean, their knowledge of the game, their decision-making, their accuracy, their toughness, their competitiveness. I mean, you know, the quarterback is so many things, but the biggest thing it's going to bring is great competitiveness, and that's what we got to get at every position if we're going to grow as a team.
Second row right, Olin, and then David right behind him.
Yeah, Jimbo, where do you think coming in that y'all probably look at Akinola Goombi playing? And I was also wondering, maybe I should know this, but I'm assuming Bryce Foster's not going to always be available. And if
no, he won't be. In
so
spring.
who's going to be
very little of spring because it's a little different for him being a shot put guy that his hands will be involved so much. Now, a chain will be there. A chain will be in spring. I mean, he'll still run track, but he will be with us in spring and practice with us and do those things. And there's a lot of little packages and things we want to get in spring. We will not get him hit. I won't get him tackled where he gets injured. But to taking reps and taking bumps and running routes and different packages we'll have to be able to develop him. And Bryce will be in meetings, different things like that. But, you know, shooting his hands, and that could affect him throwing a shot put. But he's been involved with us in doing those things in that regard. Akinola will probably start. Right now we got him in a tackle position. He'll move between guard and tackle because he is a very, very gifted guy with his feet. He's long, he's got big hands, long arms, and can play on the edge, and right now we're doing that, but he will also play some guard too. We're going to find the best position, the best 5 guys for those guys. He's a very talented young man.
Stay on the right side, David.
Talked about competition at every spot. Let's, for running back for a moment, I know you talked about A-Chain not being around, but these young guys who
No,
get
they
an
will be. He
opportunity-
will be around.
He will be around, right? The young guys, though, LJ and Amari and those guys getting
Yep.
opportunities.
I mean, right there, I mean, LJ and Amari and Ernest Crownover. You got 3 guys right there. You got a big back, 2 guys that are, but LJ, like, you don't realize how big LJ and Amari are. They're still over 200-pound guys and very physical, very strong. And I think LJ weighed 210 the other day. I mean, he looks really good. Amari's in that 202, 203 range, but still very physical and run. And anxious to watch those guys carry the load and develop a role in this team and be a big part of this team, because you know running backs, you can't have enough of them. I mean, especially in this league and the way we run it and the way we catch it too. I mean, our guys, you know, receivers and everything. So we can open things up and get really throwing and catching and playing like we need to play with some experience. I think it'd be really fun, and those guys can really benefit from that.
Coach will go to the left, Cease, and then to the back, Justin.
Coach, where are you at tight end with Wiedemeyer going? And what about, you mentioned one guy's, you going to miss anybody else not be able to practice because of injuries this spring?
Yeah, I can tell you right here. You'll have Dindy won't be able to. Chapman won't be able to. Brian George will not be able to. Covering. Deuce Harmon will not. Donnell Harris won't. McKinley won't. Darius Jones won't. Hez won't. Jalen Jones won't. Killebrew, the new guy coming in, will not, because he had to have surgery coming in high school, we knew. And then 2, Will Smoot to walk on, and Eli Stowers. Tight ends. My Lord, we got more tight ends than Carter got liver pills. I mean, no, but we got some really good guys. I mean, you know, hopefully a healthy Baylor Cup getting back in the mix. He and Max have really, I thought, really done an excellent job right now in the offseason. Max looks moving around as good as he's ever moved. I think he's, like he says, he's finally clean. No knee ain't bothered him, shoulder ain't bothered him. He's really moved around, had a good offseason. But Baylor's looked really well. Hopefully he can come on and stay on the grass, stay healthy, and play like we think he can have a chance to be a very good player. And where we're at, I mean, Blake Smith has really come on. I think his injury and getting back, he's athletic, catches the ball really well. And what he does, and we'll get Jake Johnson out there, get Jake going, and also get Garza. Those guys will all be in spring, so we'll have plenty of guys, which we do, can create a lot of different sets and the way we practice, split practice. I'm anxious to watch those guys develop and where their roles develop into.
Coach back behind the lights, Justin on the right.
Hey, Jimbo, you always talk about the guys around the quarterback, right? So let's go to receiver. A lot of guys back. I know you just said Chapman's not going to be there, but between Anias and Jalen Preston and, oh, my God, I mean, the list
but there's
goes
some
on
other
and
guys,
on.
you know, some guys in that group I've been really excited. I mean, I think Anias has had a really good offseason. I mean, he's shown great leadership. I mean, really jumped out there and did a great job. You know, where he's doing things, I think Moose has been I think Moose can be a really good player for us and keep going. Jalen's there doing a good job. He was banged up a little bit in spring, but he's coming back now. Devin Price has had a really good offseason. I've been very pleased with him. I think Kenyon Jackson's done a great job. Hez is still banged up, and Chapman's banged up. But Kenyon Jackson has done really. I've been very pleased. I'm anxious to hopefully get that size and get that going. But Yul Keith's another one. Yul Keith has jumped, his quickness, his speed. And you saw some of that last year, but I think just grown in, you know, getting that feet on the ground after a year, man, it's just, I'm very excited for him to play. And, of course, I think Evan Stewart's done an outstanding job. He's been superb in our off-season workouts, not trying to put pressure on him and do it. I mean, he's got to go play and learn, and we got to let him grow. And he may, like I say, there ain't no age limit on those things. Been very happy with him. So there'll be some great competition out there. I'm anxious to really watch where it goes. And a couple of them walking, I'm going to tell you, Serber and Campbell, those guys all done a good job.
Second row, Olin. Then we'll go to the back, John.
Yeah, Jimbo also wanted to ask you about Antonio Johnson.
Yes.
And what y'all might do with him.
A little bit of everything. I think he can do. There's not much he can't do. I mean, you know, he'll play nickel. He'll play safety. He'll play dime. He'll play, you know, you can move him around and match him up because he's such a I think he's a tremendous football player. Really does. Been a really good leader, got a great attitude, very smart individual. And I think you can move around him, you know, second-level player, third-level player. He has ball skills. He can tackle in space. He can be physical. He can cover one-on-one. So, I mean, you'll see him in different roles and different things for us. I don't know. He had a nickel spot, too. I mean, those guys all had – listen, here's what you have to say. You can't – when you can take your secondary and move them around a little bit, that's when you're really good. Because I'm going to tell you what, that's what it's become now. It's become a matchup game. And you find guys that can tackle, run, play nickel, play dime. He can go play where Leon played. He can go play where Damani played. He can play nickel. He can play dime. There's a lot of things he can do. So, I mean, I think you'll see him a little bit everywhere.
Back behind the lights.
But, I mean, other guys in that group, I mean, that safety group with Damani. I'll tell you, another guy's had a great offseason, and is Jordan Gilbert. Been really happy with him. I think his development, and, of course, Damani's been outstanding. Damani's busted his tail and been a great leader. You know, Jaron Kerr and a new youngster coming in there, but and Bryce Anderson. I mean, Bryce, I've been very pleased with him in off season too. He's jumped out. I mean, he's run and played and looks really good.
Coach, back behind the lights to the left, John Wilson down front, Cole.
Yes, sir.
Coach, is Haynes King 100% healthy coming off that
Yes.
injury and ready to be a part of this competition?
Yes, oh, without doubt. He'd been outstanding. Been running all season, leading everything. I mean, that group now, I'm going to tell you what, there's you talk about leader. Haynes has had an outstanding offspring and running, jumping, doing everything. Max Johnson's been outstanding. And what he's done, and so had Connor Wegman. All three of those guys, I'm really anxious to watch. I mean, you're going to get a fight, man. You're going to get competition's going to raise the level of play, which is very exciting for us, as you know. Definitely, you can't survive with one. But I mean, those guys. Blake Bosa's done a real nice job too. But those three guys have really excelled and from day one. I mean, like we say, we ranked our every offseason workout we get done. We did a rating system. You were playing championship football, you wear a maroon jersey, just from an effort standpoint. Effort, discipline, toughness, all the things you're doing. Not about physical ability. It has nothing to do with that. Just from all the intangibles, you make a choice about what you do. And if you were average, you were white. If you were below average, you were yellow. We didn't think we could win with you. And it was an eye-opening thing just to where we ranked them, how their effort was to let them know where they were. Those guys from day one put on red jerseys and never took them off. I mean, there's been a lot of guys like that. Damani, I mean, been quite Anais. I can go on a bunch of them, but that whole position reminded me because right off the bat they jumped on it, man. And so I mean, they're pushing each other, which is what you want.
Down front, Cole, and then David.
Jimbo, when you kind of look at just some of the early enrollees, how important was it for them to get up to speed with your offense and defense, but more so just for the level of competition for some of the better
Well, it
guys?
is. I mean, that's huge. I mean, listen, I always say this: you're in the best time of your life. We don't ever encourage guys to come, but I don't discourage guys. I think it does definitely help. Makes a difference because just knowing how to go through an off season, what the intensity's like, what to call. You're learning a whole new language. You know what that means, so I can apply my abilities based on knowing what to do and how to do it, and getting a semester of school under my belt where I'm not playing a game. See, football is one of the toughest ones to adapt to when you go to college because the first times you go to class, the first times you get a full schedule, you're in practice, you're in game. You're not in spring practice. You're in competitive games. You know, basketball, baseball, all that happens usually in the second semester. Football, you're right off the bat. It's one of the hardest ones to jump into academically, physically, all those types of things. And getting those guys at an early jump does make a difference for them, in my opinion.
Right side, David, and then Brent.
Jimbo, can you give us some early returns on the newest coaches, Steve Adazio and DJ Durkin?
Guys have jumped in. Players love both of them very well. Been very responsive, getting great response from our players. But they're energetic, they're knowledgeable, love their intensity, love their physicality, love their urgency of how they do things. Both are very intelligent guys, been around a long time. Coached a lot of good players at different positions and different times. Had a lot of success. So very excited about those guys, and I think they're great additions to our staff. I mean, they've been super.
Down front, Brent.
I know you had been patient with DeMond and worked with him and all of those things. How disappointing is this latest news with him and the suspension?
Well, I'm not going to. I don't want to comment. Our Title IX handles all that, but you don't ever want guys to make mistakes. You don't ever want guys to make mistakes, not for themselves, but for the other people. They make mistakes too, and that's very. You don't. I won't ever condone that. Want to condone that, but our Title IX office will handle that, and that's out of our hands.
Go to the back, Justin, on the right.
Coach, for you and your other, assistants, how fun is spring ball for you guys to kind of tweak with different things?
It is fun. It's just not long enough. Time you start having fun and figuring it out, you end up out of practices. You know, I mean, we used to have 30. We had 30, and all 30 of them were live. You had 30 practices, you had 30 pads practice, you had 30 days of live practice. I mean, I know that's just a different time, but I'm not saying that's true. But you could figure some things out. You can find some toughness out too, though. But it is fun because you don't have the games, and you can but you can try some things on your team, new experiments as far as where a guy can play, what he can do. We do that in the fall too. We have to always do that because I think you always got to think ahead of injuries and plan for things and know where your hair deficit. Maybe you have 2 deep, you need 3 deep. You know what I mean? Trying to find a guy, but we'll try new things out. We thought in last season things that we didn't do as well that we need to improve on, or different schemes or schematics as we self-evaluate everything we do from A to Z in this program, from schemes to how you practice to timing on things, the amount of time you may work on this thing where you may cut it back and work on something else a little more that you think is beneficial. I mean, all those things are critical, and spring's a great time. I do. It's a really fun time to go out and coach.
Anything else? All right, Cease to the left, and then Brent, you wrap us up.
So what about place kickers? Caden Davis, is he the guy to take over, and how's he improving?
Yeah, right now, Caden's been outstanding. I'll tell you what, in our off-season workout, he's one of the best athletes on this team. I ain't no lie. You talk about can run and jump and move and do things. I mean, this guy's, I mean, his speeds and running speeds, I mean, may have to run a fake pass, send him on a bomb. I mean, not flip it to him. I mean, he can run now. He's athletic. He's big and physical. I mean, looks like a daggone safety. I mean, the way he does things. But, you know, outstanding. And he was having an outstanding year last year. He and Mr. Small were having it at it going really head-to-head, and he got sick and got COVID. Got COVID, had protocols, and come back, and Seth got a little jump and got consistent in there. But I'm telling you, it was unbelievable. And his leg strength and where he's at and what he does, I'm anxious to really see him jump out at that, you know, and come on. And because his kickoffs are outstanding too. So,
All right, Brent, you
he's had a
represent?
tremendous offseason, really has.
You had a little bit on your mind last time you visited with us, so did you enjoy that football coaches meeting in Birmingham? How'd that go?
Oh, that was great. Great. We got to talk about a lot of things, and about where this game is going and what's going on and what's happening in it, and, you know, from NILs to the transfer portal to where the game's going to go, what's going on now, you know, all the expansions. I mean, you're just trying to figure out the lay of the land and what's going on, how it's going on, and where things are going. It was fun.
All civil?
Oh, yeah. That's civil. Yes, for sure.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time.
We're good. Thank you.